Hi guys, welcome. Hope you people are doing good and hope you people are getting used to how to go about reading current affairs as well as how to link your current affairs back to static syllabus. Okay, so today on 7th of November 2023, let us look at some of the important issues of the day. And again, I would like to remind you that 180 people more for you to unlock the most awaited TNT series. At least it is very awaited from my side to look at the reaction from my students. Okay, so 180 more students. So get the subscribers going, ask your friends, peers to join so that you can then make use of this series. All right, so let's get on with the issues of the day. The first issue is was kept in dark on appointment of the new CIC. Okay, all the other things are not important because it is political. So basically, the leader of opposition is informing the president that the leader of opposition was kept in dark regarding the appointment of the Chief Information Commissioner. Okay, so regarding the politicalness of the news is not important for you. What is important for you is the post of this Chief Information Commissioner. Okay, that is known as CIC. Okay, CIC is a statutory body. Okay, so when I say it is a statutory body, the powers are derived from a law, that is an act, and this act is known as Right to Information Act 2005. So according to this act, CIC is made as the highest point of appeal for any grievances. Highest point of appeal for any grievances regarding RTI as well as its implementation. So in a very simple format, we can say that it is the highest point of appeal for any grievances regarding RTI and its implementation. Okay, now this is what is the Chief Information Commissioner. All right, now since the issue is all about appointment, let us talk about the appointment of the CIC. When I say appointment of CIC, as I told you, it is given in RTI Act 2005. Okay, and according to RTI Act 2005, the Chief Information Commissioner and Information Commissioners, they are appointed by the President. Okay, and they are appointed by a president on a recommendation of a committee. Okay, they are appointed by the recommendation of a committee, and this committee is headed by the Prime Minister of India. The second is the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, and the third is a union minister nominated by the PM. Again, be careful here, it is not Home Minister in specific, so don't get confused. It is any union minister that is appointed or nominated by the Prime Minister. Okay, so on the basis of this committee, who recommends the name to the President will appoint the CIC and IC. Okay, so in this scenario, what is happening in this news is the leader of opposition is complaining to the president that the opposition leader was kept in dark till the last moment. Till the last moment, the opposition leader was kept in dark. However, the question will not come on this part of the politicalness of the issue. What the questions can come is on this procedural aspects of what is CIC and what is the procedure of appointing the CIC. Okay, so overall, as I told you, they are appointed by the president on the recommendation of a committee headed by a PM, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, and the union minister nominated by the PM. Now, when you say leader of opposition by the Lok Sabha, it can also mean, when I say leader of opposition of Lok Sabha, again, it can also mean the single largest party in opposition. Okay, the single largest party in opposition is considered as whoever is the leader of the single largest party in opposition is considered as the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha. Okay, so this interpretation is given in the Supreme Court. Okay, so the committee will consist of these three members: who will in turn recommend names to the committee, to the president, who in turn will appoint the CICs and ICs. Okay. Now, another extra information that you should learn from this is how you go from current affairs and map your static syllabus. Okay. So, you learned about CIC's appointment. Okay. Now, you should not stop there. After learning about CIC's appointment, you then learn about the CIC's tenure. Okay. The CIC's tenure is prescribed. The CIC's tenure is prescribed by the union government or the central government. Okay. Or they hold the office until they attain the age of 65. Okay. So it can be prescribed by the central government or they attain the age of 65, whichever is earlier. Okay. So this is overall the tenure. If you remember, this prescribed by the central government was introduced in RTI amendment of 2019. Okay. It was not there before. They introduced this prescribed by the central government as an RTI amendment in 2019. However, this is how the CIC's tenure works. Finally, if we have to remove any CIC or information commissioner, the CIC or information commissioner can be removed by the help, he or she can be removed by the president, and the CIC or IC can be removed on the basis of proved misbehavior or incapacity. Okay, so the CIC and IC can be removed by the president on the basis of proved misbehavior and incapacity. Okay. However, what is the procedure? The president has to refer the inquiry. The president has to refer the inquiry to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court inquires and then advises the president, and the president has to abide by the decision of the Supreme Court. Okay. So if the Supreme Court tells the president to remove, then the information commissioners or the chief information commissioners stand removed. Okay. So the CICs and ICs are removed by the president. If that question comes, they are removed by the president. Yes, it is true. However, the president will refer the case to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will look into it and then advise. And finally, after the advice of the Supreme Court, the president is going to remove it. Remove him or her. Okay. So this is how the appointment, okay, the tenure and the removal works. Okay. This is with respect to central information commissioners. Okay. Now, to go one step extra is also to learn about the state information commissioners. Okay. Just like central information commissioners as the highest point of appeal for any type of grievances regarding RTI and its implementation, within the state, this SICs become the highest point of appeal. Okay, at the state level, they become the highest point of appeal. Okay, now, as you know, they are appointed by the governor. Okay, and they are appointed by the governor and the names for SICs are given by a committee. It is given by the committee that is headed by the chief minister. That is headed by the chief minister of the state. The second is the leader of opposition of legislative assembly. And the third is, be careful here, the third is state cabinet minister. Okay, this is specified. State cabinet minister nominated by the chief minister. Okay, so these three members will advise the name, and on the basis of the advice by this committee, the governor is going to appoint the the central information commissioners as well as, the central chief information commissioner as well as the state information commissioners. Okay, so this is the overall procedure of the appointment of central chief information commissioner as well as the state information commissioners. Okay, just like CIC and ICs. Okay, these are appointed by the president. on the basis of a committee, okay, and that committee is headed by PM plus LOP of Lok Sabha plus a nominated union minister of PM. In the same manner, state chief information commissioner plus state information commissioners are appointed by the governor on the basis of a committee, and this committee as CM, LOP of Legislative Assembly, and the third is the state cabinet minister who is nominated by CM, that is the chief minister. Okay, so I hope you got the difference. Okay, finally, so just finish it off. If you take state chief election commissioners or state information commissioners, state chief information commissioners and state information commissioners. Okay, now their tenure, this is very careful, look at this, their tenure is prescribed. Though there are state level chief information commissioners, they are prescribed. See, their tenure is prescribed by the central government. Okay, again this was done in RTI Amendment Act 2019. Okay, so this is one thing that you should know. So one, the state chief information commissioners and the state information commissioners, their tenure is prescribed by the central government, or they attain the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. Okay, so this is what is about the tenure. The next is when it comes to removal. Okay, look at this again. Removal is done by the governor. Okay, now the governor will refer the cases not to High Court but to Supreme Court. Okay, the governor will refer the cases to the Supreme Court, and when the Supreme Court looks into the inquiry and it will advise, this advice is binding on the governor. Okay, this is the removal. Okay, so the removal is, the cases for removal is submitted to the Supreme Court, and the cases should have proved misbehavior and incapacity. If this is the case is then referred to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court looks into the inquiry and then advises, and accordingly it is binding on the governor. If the Supreme Court advises the governor to remove, then the governor removes the state chief information commissioners or state information commissioners. So this is overall procedure of how SICs work. Okay, and this is how basically once you have learnt about an issue, okay, so once you learn about the issues, this is how you map and revise your static syllabus. Okay, I hope this was helpful. All right, so this is about the entire issue. The next issue of the day is the banks must focus on loan recovery. Okay, in the years between 2017-18 and 2021-22, the public sector banks alone wrote off 7.3 lakh crore and managed to recover just 14% of the written off loans. In 2022-23, another 2.9 lakh crores. See, though the headline is giving you a very negative connotation, overall there has been a positive environment in the banking ecosystem. Okay, the banking ecosystem has been doing really well. Okay, let me explain first why the banking ecosystem has been doing really well. Okay, the first reason why banking ecosystem has been doing really well is the banking sector, okay, has recorded, the entire banking sector has recorded a net profit. It has recorded a net profit of rupees 2.4 lakh crore. It has recorded a net profit of 2.4 lakh crore in 2022-23. Okay, this is 38% growth in a year. Are you looking at this? This is tremendous growth. Okay, the banking sector is looking really strong. Okay, this is the first one. The second is the most satisfactory performance, okay, is coming from the public sector banks. Okay, the most satisfactory is coming from PSBs, public sector banks, whose net profit stood at rupees 1.05 lakh crore. Look at this. So PSBs are also performing well. So one statistics that I have taken and compared both the performance of banking sector as a whole and public sector banks as a whole is net profit. Okay, so in net profit you have observed that both PSBs and banking sector as a whole has been performing really well. Okay, so that is one positive. The next parameter that I'll take is non-performing assets. Okay, that is NPAs. Okay, India had a twin balance sheet problem. Okay, so this NPAs was a huge problem in the Indian banking sector. However, if you take the recent statistics, the ratio of gross non-performing assets, or you can also call it as bad loans, okay, the ratio of gross NPAs or bad loans fell to a 10-year low. It fell to a 10-year low of 39%. I'm sorry, really sorry. So it fell, 10-year low of 3.9%. 39 is too huge. Okay, it fell to a low of 3.9%. Again, no, please make sure that the gross NPA fell to 3.9%. This is a 10-year low. Okay, this is in 2022-23. Okay, now if I take it to 2017-18, okay, the same gross NPA stood at 11.5%. Okay, it stood at 11.5%. Are you looking at this? So this is a huge drop. Okay, now if I take the same PSBs, public sector banks, and the gross NPAs of the public sector banks, okay, now in 2017-18 it stood at 14%. Okay, and today 2022-23 it is down to 4.9%. Look at this. Okay, so if I take two parameters, one is net profit, the overall banking sector is doing well as well as the public sector bank is doing well. If I take the gross NPAs, the overall banking sector is doing well because it is reducing the gross NPAs from 11.5% in 2017-18 to 3.9% in 22-23. And if I take PSBs also, the gross NPAs in 2017-18 it was 14%, and in 2022-23 it is 4.9%. Okay, so overall you are seeing a very good performance in the banking sector if you take the net profit as well as the gross NPAs. Okay, if this is the case, if I am telling that with respect to the parameter of net profit as well as gross NPAs, okay, gross NPAs are declining and net profit is increasing. Okay, so this shows that we have turned around the twin balance sheet problem. This was the problem before. Okay, this is now becoming twin balance sheet strength. Are you seeing this? This is a very good outlook. And as you know, banking is a theme that is very important for both prelims as well as mains. So please make sure that you have this statistics in your mind, because you may have to reproduce in your answers in GS3, or they may ask you directly the trends, what is increasing, what is decreasing in the banking sector. They can also ask you what is increasing and what is decreasing in the public sector banks. Okay, so banking sector and public sector banks having the basic idea of what is happening, especially the trends, is very, very important from prelims perspective. And you should have this stats by hearted, at least the basic ones, especially to reproduce it in your answers in your mains GS3 paper. Okay, however, this is the good thing about what is happening with respect to banks. Okay, now why is it that the article is then giving a negative connotation? Is because it is to do with loan recoveries. This one aspect is where we are lagging behind. Now, as you can see here, from 2017-18 to 2022, that is 5 years. Okay, the PSBs have written off around 7.34 lakh crore and managed to recover 14% of the written off loans. Okay, let me just explain what it is. Okay, see what they are trying to tell is from 2017 to 2022, okay, the 5-year period, If let us say I've given 100 rupee loan to someone and I have mortgaged or I have taken a mortgage of some asset, let's say there is a property. I have taken the property of, let us say, around rupees 100. Because I have taken this as a leverage, okay, I'll take this as a leverage. Only after taking this as a leverage, I will give that person the loan of rupees 100. So now this person X who has taken the loan will not pay the loan. So when this person will not pay the loan, the banks will write off the loan. It will write off the loan and it will take over the asset. Okay, let us call this asset as AB. Okay, so the bank has written off the loan of Mr. X and it is taken over the asset of AB. Now after taking over the asset of AB, the bank has to recover its rupees 100. Now instead of recovering rupees 100, the bank is only recovering rupees 14. Okay, this is just an approximate figure. Okay, so it is recovering only 14 because as you told in the article, whatever the bank had written off, it could only take or recover 14% of the loan recoveries. That's why I am giving you the figure of 14%. So whatever assets that the bank has leveraged for the loans given, since the loans are written off, when the banks go back to sell that assets, it is able to only recover 14%. Okay, that is very low. Okay, so this is one of the problem that is hindering the banks. Okay, so one thing, the reason what this article, the reason this article puts on why is this loan recovery late is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, the article puts the blame on the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, now see, this is how now you have to go back and understand what is this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, now before you exactly understand what is this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, let me just give you the substantiation given by this author on why this code has been ineffective in loan recoveries. Okay, now let me go to that. Now this particular author says, if we come to, I will address it as IBC 2016. This is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. All right, now if you take this, all right, now this author gives a stat that the overall recovery rate via the insolvency regime, stood at rupees 3.16 lakh crore. Okay, or look at how low it is, 32% of the admitted claims. Okay, so basically all the bankrupt, okay, all the bankrupt units that was admitted into the insolvency code, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, only 32% was recovered. Okay, this is a very low percentage. Okay, and the author tells the reason for this low percentage is 46% of the closed claims ends in liquidation. Okay, ends in liquidation. Okay, 46% ends in liquidation. Okay, so now for people who are not able to understand exactly what is this liquidation, admitted claims, okay, that means that you have less idea about Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. That is why you are not able to understand what is this admitted claims and liquidation. So when you face such problems in current affairs, you go back and read what exactly is this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, see, first of all, before I explain you what is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, you should know what is the term insolvency and you should know what is the term bankruptcy. Okay, insolvency is any institution, okay, or any individual or any company cannot pay back the loan, then that means that company, individual or institute is insolvent. Okay, that means that institute or that any individual or any company is known as, that is insolvent. If it cannot pay back the loans, then it becomes insolvent. Now, once it becomes insolvent, the courts or other competent authority, the court or other competent authority will declare a person or a company or an institute as insolvent. It will declare that person as, or person or company or the institute as insolvent, and then order to resolve the debt, so that it will protect the investors. I hope you understand. So that it will protect the investors. Okay, so let me repeat. Insolvency means when a company or an institute or a person cannot pay back the loan, then that person is insolvent, or the individual institute or the company is insolvent. Now the courts or competent authority, when they declare the company, person or institute as insolvent, that means it is bankruptcy. So when the courts or competent authority declares someone as bankruptcy, then the order is mainly to resolve the debt, so that the creditors who have given the money should get some amount of money back, so that it protects the interest of those creditors or investors. Okay, so this is the exact idea of insolvency and bankruptcy. Okay, so if I go to Insolvency Bankruptcy Code 2016, the basic idea of this is a time bound process of resolving insolvency. Okay, and the time is maximum is 330 days. Within this, we have to resolve the insolvency. Now the insolvency can be for individuals. So this is one. The two is that insolvency can be for individuals, it can be for companies, it can be for limited liability partnership, it can be for partnership firms. All this can participate in the insolvency adjudication. The third is adjudicating authority, who will take decisions on this matter. So now there are two parts in this adjudicating authorities. There is National Company Law Tribunal, okay, and then there is dispute recovery tribunals or dispute resolution tribunals. Okay, now this NCLT will take care of companies and LLPs, that is limited liability partnerships, whereas debt recovery tribunals will take care of or are adjudicating authorities when it comes to insolvencies of individuals or partnership firms. Okay, so this is the adjudicating authority. Okay, the next is insolvency resolution process. Insolvency resolution process. Who will declare or who wants to start this so-called the process of insolvency resolution process? Now this process can be initiated, again this is important, look at this, it can be initiated 1 by the firm, 2 by the debtors, 3 by the creditors, and 4, and the most important is it can also be done by the employees. So all the 4 can initiate the process of insolvency resolution. Okay, the fifth is once the insolvency resolution process is accepted by the adjudicating authority. Okay, once the insolvency resolution process is accepted by the adjudicating authority, two things can happen. Okay, two things will happen. One, insolvency professional, who is known as IP, will be appointed. Okay, insolvency professional will be appointed. The second is a committee of creditors will be formed who will take over the management. Okay, who will take over the management and board. Okay, next, once this is done, the insolvency professional who has been appointed, who is in charge of going forward with the resolution process, has two options. One, the option is to revive the company. Okay, the another is to liquidate the company. Okay, now listen to this carefully. This is where the entire news is coming from. As I told you, the insolvency professional has two options. One, that person can revive the company. Okay, and the second is liquidate the company. Okay, liquidate the company is a very easy option. So whatever assets that the company has, you sell them, and then whatever money is there, you give it to the creditors. See, this is a very easy option to take. But reviving the company is where one, you find a buyer who's able to buy the company, you try to restructure the loan so that the buyer will be given extra time and lower interest rate to revive the company. Okay, now this actually will help save the company. However, by doing this, the creditors have to accept significant losses. As I told you, the loan has to be restructured, otherwise no one is going to buy it, right? So this accepting significant losses is known as haircut. Okay, now as I told you, this first option is a good option that will keep the companies going. This has to be done. This is the last option that has to be taken. However, as you saw in the news that almost 46% of the total resolution, okay, 46% of the total resolution is resulting in liquidation of the companies. Now I think you understand what the news is. Okay, now one argument is 330 days is very less to revive a company. Okay, this is one argument that is given by the many insolvency professionals. Okay, so to summarize this entire Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So Insolvency Bankruptcy Code is a time-bound process of resolving insolvency. That is a maximum of 330 days given to the insolvency professional to resolve the problem. It can be bankruptcy that is between individual, companies, limited liability partnerships or partnership firms. Adjudicating authority are of two types: National Company Law Tribunal, which adjudicates insolvency regarding companies and LLPs, whereas debt recovery tribunals that resolves insolvency regarding between individuals, partnership firms. Okay, now this insolvency resolution process can be initiated by the firms, debtors, creditors, employees. So any of the four can initiate the insolvency resolution process. Once this insolvency resolution process is initiated and accepted by the adjudicating authority, the insolvency professional gets appointed, who is known as IP, and the committee of creditors will take over the management or the board. Okay, now the insolvency professional has two options: one is to revive, another is to liquidate. As I told you, reviving is always the best option, that is to find a buyer who will buy the company and will save the company from the insolvency. And for this, you need to restructure the loan so creditors will take or accept the losses, which is known as haircut. The second option, very easy option, is liquidate the company. That is, whatever assets the company has, you sell it and give back the money to the creditors. Okay. Unfortunately, now if you have understood this, let us go back to this statement. You will understand what is happening. See, IBC 2016. Okay. Now the recovery rate via the insolvency regime is only 32%. So whatever claims are being admitted, the recovery is first of all very less. Okay, the reason why the recovery, for example, if 100 rupees is the claimed recovery, we are only recovering 32 rupees out of it. Okay, the reason, because in this 100 rupees, instead of trying to revive the company to get that 100 rupees back, most of it, what they are doing is they are trying to liquidate it. Liquidate means you just try to sell this particular asset in the market. Obviously, since it is a second-hand good, you will not get the same rate. So this will result in reduction of prices. That is why instead of getting 100 rupees, you are only getting back 32 rupees. Okay. So if you see, liquidation as an option is almost 46% of the closed claims. Okay. I hope you got the exact problem of what is happening with IBC. Though IBC has been successful, because economic survey has told that it is successful. The problem with IBC is the number of days given is too less, and the most easy option called liquidation is taken instead of reviving the company. These are the two challenges that are faced by the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay. One more information that you should understand is in 2021, okay, IBC, the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code was amended, and they brought in insolvency resolution. They brought in insolvency resolution even for medium, small, okay, micro, small and medium enterprises. Okay, even for MSMEs, now insolvency resolution is brought. Okay, now this is done if the default is if the default amount is up to or more than 1 crore, only then the insolvency resolution can be done through IBC code. Okay, and this is one of the amendment that was done in IBC 2021. Okay, so with that, I hope now you understood the entire process of what is happening in the banking sector. Okay, though from the net profit angle as well as gross NPS angle, the banking sector is doing very good. When it comes to loan recoveries, it is not the problem of bank as such. Whatever non-performing assets are there, the IBC is not able to get us a recovery from all those assets that were leveraged. That is the problem. Our loan recovery rates are very low. Okay, the reason is we are heavily dependent on liquidation. We are dependent on liquidation instead of reviving the company. Okay, so these are the two important issues of the day. I hope you not only got to know the issues, but you also backtracked it in understanding the static part of the syllabus. Okay, so by doing this on a daily basis, you will more or less cover all the static part in the syllabus. That is the trick, guys. Okay, so I hope it was helpful, and I hope you're enjoying this current affairs. So please make sure that you like, share and subscribe, and please do tell your friends and peers to join and subscribe for the channel. As I told you, 180 more members and the TNT series is going to get unlocked. Okay, I'll see you again tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the support that you have given me. Bye.